diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires as it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later, in Whisker's growth cycle, does it begin to form an identity, or identities, that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. I'm going to try and talk a little more slowly, which is going to be a little bit annoying for you guys to watch, but it will be easier for me to not just absolutely stumble through these sentences. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation: greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, 19 I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Go to Grandpa. I'm gonna teach Grandpa something else, even though I didn't like this. You approach the small window. Okay. Okay, this might actually get easier as it goes, because this is not as hard as last time. I think the quicker I can get the mouse moved and held onto, the particular pentagon, the quicker the letters turn red and the quicker Grandpa learns these words. And after this, I will feed Grandpa, and then perhaps I will attempt to communicate with Grandpa. Deep within Grandpa, strange membranes formate confidently. That's right, you are Grandpa! Having completed the lesson, you take a look back at the vocabulary module and the notes that were written here by administrators of the past. Grandpa, part of the vocabulary and vocalization model E81, family. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation, voice thin, raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. Module comments, see below. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familial relation simulation. I and a co-researcher sit in chairs opposite the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation that might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal, although our simulated conversation was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and the identities, we would only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent that the encoded information and associations we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was picked up on by Whiskers in its psi-type field of reception, interpretation of a brain, mind, events, somatic content. My co-researcher, William, noticed this in a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual specificity, as well as a general pattern of timbre of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity are intercepted by the psi-type field will take extensive neuroimaging that we do not have at this site. Currently, we only have less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain proportions of the limbic system and the ventral temporal context. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Okay. Let's go to Grandpa. Let's feed Grandpa. No, I know how to feed Grandpa. Click on Grandpa's nostrils, left of its mouth. Okay. Let's see. What about cashews? Okay. Well, then I'm gonna feed it to Grandpa. The meal appears to have been sufficient.